From being a part of the show for 189 episodes to deciding to part ways and leaving the show, it's never an easy journey, and it's been the same for Chicago PD's Jay Halstead. But Jesse Lee Soffer is finally ready to talk about his exit, the why, the how, and everything in between. Even before he reached the age of 30, Soffer already had 3 Emmy nominations, more than 500 episodes of As the World Turns, and a phenomenal performance as Bobby Brady in the Brady Bunch films. But let's talk about his Chicago Fire character for a bit.
Then kick me off it. But why don't you go and tell the unit in the brass why?
Jay Halstead, a character played by Soffer, was first seen in Wolf's Chicago Fire, the first Law & Order SVU spinoff that would go on to establish the series. The next year, when Chicago PD made its debut, Jay Halstead was one of the main characters. He gave the franchise everything from seasons 1 through 9, and after appearing on 189 episodes of the show, the man decided it was time to leave the show.
But I swear to you that we're gonna get through this, because
that meant he had to talk to the producers. Considering how close he is with the entire cast and crew, this particular conversation at the end of season 9 was particularly challenging.
I look around this room, you know what the first thing I think is? Here's a bunch of relationship experts.
Then, even after leaving the show, Jesse decided to keep the details of his departure private. Now, he thinks it's time to share. Jesse Soffer said that he has considered how to respond to this particular question for a while now, but he realized that there was no good response. So, he decided to go with the simplest one, the truth. Soffer knew he was ready for more now. Perhaps it was difficult to find time for anything else, let alone taking on a new role while shooting a 22-episode procedural in Chicago. Or perhaps it was because he had been playing the same character for ages now.
he went out one night off the books and he found the man responsible.
The showrunner of season 9, Gwen Cian, gave him the storyline about Jay taking over the number 2 position in the unit and getting married, which allowed him to take the guy on a new adventure for the first time in years. While Lee was very appreciative of the storyline, he also knew that at one point, you know the character so well, there's not much that can shift or transform a certain narrative.
No, I am not gonna let that happen. I love you.
So, despite the new turn, he wished for more freedom. That's how the man thinks. They only get this one life, and he really wants to develop and progress. So, if it wasn't there and then, he wouldn't have resigned for another 3 years. And that means that he would have turned 40 by the time he moved on from the show. So, he decided it was time to take a chance. And it was one of the most difficult decisions he's ever had to make, because the man adores his fans and viewers. So, even though he left, he knows that fans, and him too, are still mourning about it to some extent, and that, folks, is how you know you've got a real one. But does that mean the doors are firmly closed shut? Well, not exactly. When hammering out the details of his departure, Soffer consented to return for the premiere of season 10. So, yes, folks, you will get to see him again as Jay Halstead at least one more time.
One bad act doesn't make you a bad person. You and I both know that.
The man last made an appearance in the season's 3rd episode, which broadcasted in October. That's when the writers sent Jay to Bolivia on a mission with the army to take down the gang in order to maybe kill him off the NBC program. When he did go off on the mission too, it meant that Jay abandoned his wife, Haley Upton. Haley now knows that he has extended his trip after he assured her that they would manage to get through it, and that message too was relayed from Halstead's boss. So yeah, everyone's still grieving a little.
I didn't want to drag you into it. I'm trying to protect you. I mean, technically it's illegal.
Some off-screen and others on. Let's talk about the off-screen ones. It's no secret that Chicago PD fans are very active on social media. Even Soffer is well aware of that little fact. So he regularly notices the tweets that appear on his feed, and he understands their frustrations. This isn't the Jay they know and adore. Why won't he make a call? Why is he acting like this? But as the actor explains, and we all already know, the show must go on.
Me help her. You did this to her.
I didn't call her.
That being said, he really doesn't believe that he has the right to feel any particular way about how they're portraying the character now. The authors know what they're doing in order to support the plot and the personalities that are still present, and everyone knows they enjoy delving into life's darkest, most difficult moments, so this particular painful narrative just made sense for Haley. Still, Soffer feels it's his duty to defend his persona. Finally, I was getting a little worried. Jay Halstead has serious flaws, just like everyone else on Chicago PD, but he is unquestionably a decent man with admirable intentions. Rewinding to that Season 9 conversation, the actor reveals that when he decided to return for Season 10's premiere in order to appropriately depart, he surprised the producers by also requesting the opportunity to direct. Now, the 38-year-old actor doesn't remember when the urge to become a director first surfaced, but he did come to the conclusion that it might be a career worth pursuing after 5 years of Chicago PD. He claims that although he hadn't really mentioned it to anyone, it was something he was prepared to fight for. So, less than 2 weeks after finishing his final episode, he returned from Los Angeles to Chicago, this time to follow director Bethany Rooney. He realized that in a sense, they had been directing the entire time he was on the show, as he worked with his fellow actors every day to perfect a scene.
Haley, will you marry me?
You don't have to do that. I already did the proposal part.
Soffer found it extremely odd at first to enter as an observer, the guy who's off camera, so he decided to concentrate on Rooney, as a result, observing how she managed everything that comes along. Then he dove right into his March 22nd show, feeling like he had never left. The man shared that some of it came naturally. It was difficult at times, but it was also incredibly satisfying. A portion of it was pretty humbling too, he claims, but at the end of the day, they're storytellers, and he enjoys telling stories, so it was simpler than he anticipated.
He didn't stop him. Maybe he even helped him. He didn't turn him in. That could fit.
The man had a strategy. He would analyze a script thoroughly and contact the producers with suggestions whenever it was a Halstead-focused story. His hard work paid off soon. In his Deadlocked episode, things get a little old school, with the boss, Jason Begay, breaking the rules again. Following the end of the episode, Begay paid Soffer the highest praise. According to Soffer, "Bro, as far as maiden journeys go, this is effing spectacular." That's not the only time the man appreciated Jesse's talent either. Begay called Soffer a tremendously talented actor in an interview with Variety. More importantly, he continued that he is a wonderful human being and has the capacity to develop into a top-tier director if he wished. Truly the highest of praises, right? Now, only one question remains. Where is Jay Halstead, according to Jesse? Well, the actor would like to believe that he's just in another country right now, doing what he does best and making the world a safer place. Soffer hopes the fans think the same way about the character. The 38-year-old found a family with the cast and crew of Chicago PD, and in a family, people occasionally move away or venture on their own for a bit, but at the end of the day, they are still and always will be family. That's all from Jesse, and why he left the Chicago PD.